Hello friends, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. I am Vicky and you're with Grammy in the Kitchen. Today is Sunday and my daughter, her husband, and 2 grandsons are coming over for dinner. So I took a whole chicken out of the freezer yesterday, just letting that thaw in the refrigerator overnight, and now I have it on the counter to finish thawing so we can get that in the oven. I'm also making some homemade dinner rolls right here. I'll show that recipe right there for you if you want to go check out how I make my dinner rolls. This is a double batch. So, aprons on. Let's get started. The other day when I was chopping up the pork for the pork barbecue to go in the jars, I ended up with a little blister right there because my hand kept slipping on the knife, and I ended up with a blister. So I have a Band-Aid on there, but I'm going to put a glove on just so I can protect the Band-Aid and the skin and the food. Let's go ahead and get this out of the pan and get them shaped up into balls. Alright, it's a little sticky. I'm going to add some flour down on my bench. I don't know, do you think I could do this with gloves on? Alright, so I'm just going to knead it a little bit. Doesn't need much. Alright, I think that's all we really need to do. Beautiful. Alright, I'm going to divide this into half. Alright, so each one of these I should be able to get 6. So each one of these I should be able to get 3. I'm going to make a little log. You know what, I think I can get actually more than that. Alright, I think I can get 4 out of each one of those. So that's going to give me more rolls. When I was younger, making dinner rolls used to intimidate me, like horribly intimidate me. Just get comfortable in the kitchen and just get it done. I mean, there were so many mistakes in my younger years, and you just need to just get in there and just do it. There will be mistakes, but we need to learn from those mistakes. Cooking real food the old-fashioned way, it's a dying art. The last time my daughter and her family came over for dinner, the grandson made a comment on them coming over here that he was hungry. Now, they were coming for dinner. He goes, "I'm hungry. Can we stop at McDonald's?" And I'm like, why is that a go-to? Why is that a go-to? Alright, so I have butter on this paper towel. I'm putting it in this casserole dish, and we'll have to get the other one out also. Alright, so just like the pizza and the hamburger buns, we're just going to pull, squeeze at the bottom. It's a little hard when they're this small, but we got this. Looks like I got 30 something. Interesting, but it's okay. I like little dinner rolls versus big dinner rolls. How about you? Which do you like better? if you were making dinner rolls for a Sunday dinner at your house, or even for a holiday dish, would you make them little or big? Some of these are huge, and I'm just borrowing it to make the smaller ones a little bit bigger. It's so hard to do anything with gloves. Oh my god. I don't like this. So this recipe is so easy. It is just water, yeast, sugar, and you let the yeast bloom. Then you add 2 eggs, salt, oil, and flour. So simple. And I like having rolls when I'm having dinner with my family. And I absolutely love having them in my freezer, so we won't have to go through these steps because they will already be made. So I'll flash freeze them in a pan, and then I will take them out of the pan and put them in a baggie and just leave them in the freezer. And when I'm ready to cook them, I'll just take them out, put some butter all over the frozen balls, put them on in a casserole dish just like this, and then cover them up with saran wrap and let it do its rise, because it will rise as it thaws. And then once it thaws, I stick it in the oven and bake it 350 for about 15-20 minutes. Doesn't take very long. Alright, so that's 20. I got 12 here and 20 here. So it's 32. $20 is what we're going to have for dinner today. So I'm going to leave that over there to do its rising. The 12 are going to go in the freezer. I had some bread cubes in the freezer that I made, and we're going to turn that into some stuffing. And I'm slacking. I have not portioned out my green beans yet, but that's okay. We're going to turn this into a green bean casserole. I don't have the onion crisp to go on top, but I'm going to fry up some onions in some oil, and we're going to use that as the topping. So I'm going to tilt you down, and we're going to go ahead and get started on the broth to go into the stuffing. I do not have any celery. I keep forgetting to order that from Azure, but I will get it eventually. But I do have some carrots in the freezer, and I have an onion that I'm going to use for the stuffing and for the onion topping for the green bean casserole. So half of this onion I'm going to chop up. We're going to save these for our stock. Do not throw that away. Like I said before, the husband does not mind the flavor of onions. He just doesn't want to bite into a large onion. So I am dicing them really small. Then I'm going to cook it in the broth on the stovetop until they turn really soft. It's probably more than what I need. So I'm going to do about a quarter of an onion. Put our carrots in here. And I had some chicken stock that I made gravy with last night. I'm just going to add, it's about a half a quart in here. And I'm just going to put this on the stove on medium heat and just let that do its thing. I'm going to go ahead and cut this other onion to use as our onion crisp for our green bean casserole. So I just cut them in little slices. And we're going to reserve that until we're ready for it. In the meantime, I'm going to put this in a Ziploc bag. I have my freezer scrap bag right here. Got the onion peels in there. So this is going back in the freezer. Our rolls are rising. Beautiful. Alright, before we get started on the chicken, I want to make my butter compound. I have about 3 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to put this in the microwave because I did not take it out of the refrigerator early enough, so I just want to soften it. I don't want to melt it. Alright, so this is my butter that I softened. I'm going to put a half a teaspoon of pepper, a half a teaspoon of salt, a whole teaspoon of Italian seasoning, a half a teaspoon of onion powder, and a half a teaspoon of garlic powder. Alright, we're just going to mix that in here together. Like I said, I put it in the microwave just for a minute to soften the butter, but I didn't melt it because I still want it to be in a solid form when I put it on the chicken, because I'm going to actually put this under the skin of the chicken. I have the oven preheating to 375. Alright, that is good enough. Pat dry the chicken. Oops, we got some ice cubes on it. That's okay, we can do this. So I'm going to go in here and pick up the skin off of the breast. Put my fingers up in there to loosen it up from the breast meat. Get above the leg and the thigh. Without ripping the skin. So I'm grabbing about maybe a tablespoon, and I'll push it down and massage it into that leg area. Do the other side. If I'm ripping the skin, be careful, Vicky, be careful, be careful. Oh, it smells so good already. I love garlic and Italian seasoning. I'll massage that into under the skin, over the breast. Perfect amount. Oven is up to temperature. I've washed my hands. I'm going to drizzle a little bit of olive oil on the skin. And with clean hands, now I could go into my salt jar and my pepper jar and just add a little bit more on the top. Got about a half a cup of water just so it doesn't fry in the oven. Alright, so we're going to put this in the oven and we're going to bake it with aluminum foil. And then we'll check the temperature. The thigh and the legs need to reach 165. The breast needs to reach 160. So we'll do both temperatures periodically. Once it reaches that temperature, we'll take the aluminum foil off and we'll let it brown nice and crispy. So now we're going to go get started on our stuffing. I have some butter. I'm just going to butter this dish down. So I have the breadcrumbs right here. This is the onions and the carrots that we cooked in some chicken stock going in. And like I said, I don't have any celery, but we are going to add some celery seeds just for the flavor. Maybe I have maybe a quarter of a teaspoon. Go ahead and add some salt and some pepper. Little bit of thyme. Half a teaspoon of thyme going in. Garlic powder. Maybe a half a teaspoon. And I don't know if you can see the dinner rolls are rising. Beautiful. A little bit more chicken stock in here. About a total of 2.5 cups altogether. Alright, need some more salt. A little bit more pepper. And about another 1/8 of a teaspoon of celery seeds. Perfect. Put it in the buttered casserole dish. And we'll put this in the oven at the same time that we put our green bean casserole in the oven. So in this pan right here, I had fried up some chicken last night. And I'm just going through and pulling out the bits and pieces out of it because I'm going to reuse this oil, and this is coconut oil, for our onion crisp. So I got a little bit of water on my fingers. And we are ready. In the same bowl, I'm putting some paper towels. So when they come out of the oil, I can strain some of this oil off. Then we're going to work on the homemade, no can cream of chicken soup. It's just been 5 minutes and they're starting to crisp up. I'll leave them in here just about maybe 5 more minutes. So I'm thinking 10 minutes, but I'll let you know. Alright, 10 minutes exactly. We got some beautiful crispy onions. Just put them in this bowl so we can drain some of that oil off of it so they stay nice and crispy. Gorgeous crispy onions. So we're going to use the same pan to make our no can cream of chicken soup mix for our green bean casserole. So I have 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to add about a tablespoon of oil. We're going to add 2 tablespoons of flour. And this is some chicken broth powder. And I'm going to add 2 heaping spoons of this in there. We're not going to worry about salt and pepper right now because the bouillon powder does have some salt in it. Alright, we're just going to cook that a little bit. Putting another tablespoon of butter in there. And I have some chicken broth that I just opened. And I have some cashew milk, but use any milk of your choice. Alright, that's perfect. Put about a cup of broth in there. And we'll add about a cup of milk. Like I said, I am out of celery. But I do have some celery seeds, so I'm just going to add maybe 1/4 teaspoon. Does not need any salt, but it does need a little bit of pepper. Weighed out about 1 pound of green beans going in. We'll put about half of our onions. Stir that in there. Spread the rest of it on the top. And when the chicken has about 30 minutes left, we'll go ahead and put this in the oven. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and make up some mashed potatoes. I'm using instant potatoes. I have some water, some cashew milk, some butter. I'm going to add some pepper and some salt, and when this heats up, we're going to go ahead and add the instant potatoes. So we went ahead and put the green bean casserole and the stuffing in the oven. The chicken is still in there. So our water and milk butter mixture is boiling. We're going to go ahead and add the potatoes. These are just instant potatoes I get from Azure. But we need to turn this down. Alright, I'm just going to mix it enough until it thickens up just like mashed potatoes. And I don't measure, but I did save the label, and it's got the instructions on there, but I just guesstimate. It works for me. Alright, and it will thicken up as it sits here, so we're going to go ahead and turn that burner off and see if we need to add any more liquid or add any more potato flakes. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and make the gravy. We did have a little bit of gravy left over from last night. And then I have some chicken stock right here. Barbara's going to go ahead and make the gravy for us. So we've got, how many teaspoons in there do you think we got of butter?
Close to 2 tablespoons.
So we got 2 tablespoons of butter. And we're going to be making a roux.
We're just going to get the butter nice and melted. And now we're going to add about the same amount of flour as there is butter. And just stir that in together. And then you slowly add in your broth and mix it together. Oh, is that what you do? Bring it back all to life. It's crazy how much that stuff thickened from last night.
Alright, so we just added the remainder in there from last night, and we're just going to let that heat up and thicken up. Yes, both of us are over here, Vicki and Barbara. Alright, so the gravy came up to a boil, and we're going to go ahead and turn that off while we wait on everything else. And that is our green bean casserole that we made a homemade cream of chicken soup without the can and some crispy onions. Dinner breads are ready. Check the internal temperature of this stuffing. Alrighty, stuffing is ready. We're at 120. Alright, let's check the temperature of this chicken. It's been in there for 2 hours. Alright, so the breast meat is actually recording at 180, so that is done. Let's check the thigh meat. When you go in here, you got to make sure you're not hitting a bone, because that's going to give you a false reading. Alright, we're at 180. We are good. So I was sitting there editing the video and realized I didn't do closing to this video. But dinner was delicious. The green bean casserole, all gone. I will not go back to the traditional green bean casserole ever again. Everybody loved it. They said that is now a Sunday staple for when we do family gatherings. It is a holiday staples when we make our holiday meals. And Barbara has actually made a request for it for Easter. Super delicious. And it's everything we have in stock anyway. The chicken took 2 hours to cook. I took the aluminum foil off and let it cook for another 15-20 minutes just to crisp up that skin. Moist, delicious. That butter compound under the skin was wonderful. All the chicken we have left from that whole chicken, delicious. And as for the stuffing, that's what we have left. And gravy. And we have 2 rolls left. Everything else was gone. Delicious. So I just want to say thank you very much for hanging out with us while we were cooking a delicious Sunday dinner that will put any holiday dinner to shame. It was delicious. All the products that we use in today's video were actually bought from Azure. If you're not familiar with Azure, I'll leave a link below with my link to Azure. If you use my link below and start your own account with Azure, and if you spend $100 or more on your first order as a new customer, within 90 days of signing up, I am blessed with a $25 credit with Azure. Not special at all. Once you set up your account, you also get an affiliate link where if someone purchased through your link, you are benefit from that purchase also with a $25 credit to your order. Like I said, everything from today's meal was purchased from Azure, except for one item, and that was the celery seeds. I did get that from Walmart because, again, no celery, and I don't usually keep celery seeds in my house because I'd rather have fresh or frozen celery. But I did have to buy that a couple months ago, and I do have that on my spice rack over there for emergencies such as this. So if you have not purchased from Azure, go check them out. It's a wonderful company. Everything is non-GMO. They scrutinize everything they get from wherever they get it from to make sure it meets their standards, because they're not going to sell to you or me if it doesn't meet their standards. So everything is non-GMO, and most of it is organic. You don't have to buy organic. Just go check out the Dirty Dozen list and stay away from conventional of those items and get organic for those items. If money is a tight budget for you, I understand. It took me 2 years to get my pantry the way it is, buying what I needed for that month plus a little extra. And now I'm at the place where I am comfortable and secured in my pantry. And I want you to be able to say the same thing with your pantry. And if you're new here, please subscribe. We will love to have you part of the Grammy family. And I just want to say thank you to all those who have subscribed. I do appreciate it. I love each and every one of y'all. And I'm so glad you come back every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday to see what Grammy's doing in the kitchen on this day. So go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, and while you're at it, go ahead and subscribe. We would love to have you part of our Grammy family. So until next time, y'all have a blessed day. Bye, friends.